Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone, wherever you are. Thank you for joining. My name is Sivam Velaidam, and this is 230 to 32nd episode. Thank you, everyone, for your continuous support. My name is Sivam Velaidam again. At VoiceOmen 360, we run a podcast on a weekly basis. This is what we call Open Up. And before we start, I just want to give you brief information about our organization. So this way you can get to know our organization. VoiceOmen 360 is a non-profit organization founded in 2020 in London, Ontario, Canada, dedicated to supporting men and boys through life challenges. We align with the International Men's Day movement and its six pillars, which promote the well being of men and boys worldwide. Open Up creates a safe, inclusive space for people from all walks of life to share their life journeys, challenges, and triumphs. The program airs on Sundays at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, featuring one guest at a time per episode. Before I introduce our special guest today, I would like to review our disclaimer. We would like to remind everyone that Voice of Men 360 is committed to promoting peaceful harmony in all our interactions. The views and opinions shared by our speakers are their own and do not necessarily reflect those of Voice of Men 360. Please note that our content is not a substitute for professional medical or therapeutic advice. If you are struggling with the personal challenges, we strongly encourage you to reach out to a qualified expert. For questions or concerns about today's episode or any of our content, feel free to email us at info@voiceomen360.org. Again, like I said earlier, we have an amazing guest for today. Um, his name is Randall L. Murphy, Executive Director and founder at Shine the Light for Abducted Children, parent advocate, entrepreneurial innovator. He is joining from USA. I'm going to display the contact information and the email address and the website address for their organization later on or shortly, so you can reach out to them. Welcome, Randall. Thank you for joining.
I appreciate the honor to visit with your audience and be here. Thank you.
Absolutely, this is a great opportunity for us to learn, explore some of the areas that we really want to get to know more. And at the same time, a lot of people they are reaching out to us to get some support, help. Um, so let's just start from beginning for those meeting you for the first time. Can you tell us about yourself and what led you to become an advocate for adopted children and their parents?
Appreciate that. My name is Randall Murphy. I'm from Sunbury, Pennsylvania, and I founded Shine the Light for Abducted Children out of the experience of having my own children taken internationally and ironically to Canada.
Okay, thank you. Um,
You're welcome.
Absolutely. So the the next question is that what's your advocacy is deeply personal. How did the adoption of your own children change you as a father, a person, and eventually an advocate?
The biggest change, I think, is I became calmer. The other aspect of that, to work with other parents going through the similar types of situations, has empowered, we empower the parent, but it's also empowered me. So if we can help someone that helps us through our own journeys as well.
Absolutely. When we have experience and then when we go through situations like that and then we really
Mhm.
want to help others,
Yeah,
this is great because sometimes people they don't want to take any steps because they already are struggling with their own problems. But
yep.
some people take it a little bit further and then want to help others too. This is absolutely great. Thank you for doing that.
You're welcome.
Um, you went from searching for your own children to helping families around the world.
Hmm.
Was there a particular moment when you realized I need to help other parents going through this too?
There was a stakeholder in March of 2013 that suggested he empowered me to have a voice. And that began the process, uh, strictly with international and US cases originally. But by 2000, March of 2020, I had another parent who happened to be a diplomat for Norway say, Randy, you need to take this further and around the world. And we've succeeded in doing that since that moment and have been able to do country to country cases that may not have anything to do with the United States. And we've helped hundreds of parents.
Absolutely. Like I said, even if it's a one, it's way I would say it is. We can do or we are doing beyond our limitations. But I saw the number almost or over 225. It's a you need a lot of support at the same time. Your dedication and absolutely it's fantastic. It's incredible.
Thank you.
Um, Many people hear the term, but before that, I want to ask you one thing.
Yeah.
Just want to connect one thing here. Let's say when we go through situations like that, either divorce or any loss or anything, people they don't want to live again. Let's see when we try to help others, and then some people say, you know what, that's a way you can heal yourself, and then you can help others too. But what do you take or what do you understand? Which side are you looking at? Because you really want to help, and you help already a lot of people, a lot of families. What do you take on that?
There's always hope, no matter what the situation is. A lot of times parents will come to us and say, well, this is really complicated. It's really messy. They're all messy. Every case is messy. And we've helped parents that have had the abductor. One case, the abductor was on the top 10 of the FBI list here in the States. And that abductor would surrender themselves. They humbled themselves, and and we've seen the worst of the worst, and there's always something that will shock us from time to time. Um, in the nature of the abduction, but there's always hope, and it's a matter. We use a phrase called "staying in the game" because it is a bit of a game. It's strategy involved a lot, but as long as that parent's willing to be in the game, hang in there. There's always hope. One of our board members reunited with their children last September after 10 years. There was many times we thought it was hopeless, but it wasn't.
Absolutely. There are a
Yeah,
lot of cases, a lot of scenarios,
yeah,
situations, and
yeah.
yes, you are right. Absolutely, case by case, and sometimes some people they give up, here and
Hmm.
there, but somebody is still they stay with the hope, and
We've,
absolutely, yeah,
yeah, it's a miracle. There, each one of these situations, and you had mentioned a number there earlier, it's 266 kids that we've helped to reunite. The parents are doing the heavy lifting. We're just guiding, we're coaching, we're empowering, and of course, there's always stakeholders, be it from lawyers to psychologists, guardian ad litems, law enforcement, that are
Um,
always working.
yeah, maybe you can answer from based your experience, what you observed. I just also always wondering whenever I hear this kind of news or stories that what kind of mentality, mindset behind all these actions, either any side, it could be father or it could be mother, but
Hmm.
instead of oh, this person is doing or lying or doing something bad, but what's the mentality? Why people are doing this?
The foundational response to that is revenge, one word. And most abductors are narcissistic in nature, in their personality profile, and they resist uh, correction. They think they're above the law, and typically, an abductor will need to humble themselves, or they'll be apprehended and through law enforcement. More children are recovered through law enforcement uh, other than civil means. Civil, and by that I'm referring to the Hague Convention, which we'll talk about a little bit more here.
Um, Absolutely, yeah, because we hear a lot of cases, stories, people manipulate always and
Mhm.
things like that, right? So
Yep.
um, many people hear the term parental child abduction and may think of it simply as a custody dispute. What do you wish the public better understand about the seriousness and complicity of parental child abduction?
It's not a civil dispute, it's a crime. It's a crime in all 50 states. It's a crime here in the US. It's a crime in Canada. It's a crime in many countries around the world. Um, and I don't know the stats for Canada, but in the United States, we have children held in 131 countries around the world. And many of those children have not come home. It is a crime.
Yeah, absolutely. Because
Yeah,
the public and also some people, the society, they don't have, I would say, like the clear understanding or the full awareness of
true.
what's happening in the world or in our neighborhood too. So let's go back to the number. So you have been involved in efforts that have contributed to the reunification of 265 children from more than 35 countries so
Mm-hmm.
far. So, what have those cases taught you about what families experience behind the number?
What they experience obviously is a loss of their child initially. They lose that connection. They lose days, years, months, years. I mean, it can go on and on. The average is 3 years. So there's trauma on the parental side. There's trauma for the children, and we'll never get that time back. But in that there is hope, there is a resilience with many of the children that we've helped to reunite. Um, there's also a high percentile of autistic children too that we've helped to reunite. So the experiences are varied. Again, for the parent to be hopeful in the process and then to be there to love their children when they are reunited, give them that support no matter what or how they must do that. And I've seen parents totally bounce back. I mean, it's like some. I've had parents say, "Well, hey, we didn't even lose a step." Now, course they did, but they're they're re-energized and to be able to love on their child. And there's some key things that once a child is reunited, we encourage them to have medical exams, and we encourage them to get an educational baseline. A child that was reunited in February, literally within 3 days of being reunited, had an appendix that was ready to burst. Had they been left in that foreign country, they may not have been here today. So again, those medical exams are really important right out of the gates.
Absolutely, yeah. There are a lot of situations. That's what I'm going with the next question.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about the psychological and emotional thing. What happens emotionally and psychologically to a parent when their child disappears, especially when the person responsible is the other parent?
Mm-hmm. The left behind parent is a term we use, or seeking parent. They initially are in what we call the fog. So there becomes a roller coaster of emotions. And what our organization does is we come alongside to help them through a lot of those uh, episodes. It's a process, but we also encourage them to get professional counseling as well. And we're a big proponent to natural health products as well that will help a parent to stabilize. We want to get them grounded in their lives, productive in their lives, not just sit back and wait. The worry, the millions of decisions that a parent needs to make literally when your child is taken, if you focus on that, you're going to drive yourself crazy. And we would like you to be focused and working through strategically to help bring your children home.
Absolutely. Sometimes when we hear the story, it's more than a movie or drama that we can imagine. It's
Mm-hmm.
beyond that our imagination. Because sometimes people act or plan so violently, or uh, I don't know what they're, as you said, they are on top of their, law and enforcement, everything.
I think so.
It,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
we cannot really understand their mindset, though.
Right. They, the, in a conversation back in February of this year, a a crime I'm trying to think of the right term, but a like an advocate. There's a an advocate. If you have law enforcement involvement, there's a crime specialist that's to help you through that process. And this one FBI agent kind of came back to me in this conversation. Don't you know this is a violent crime? And of course, it's a violent crime. It's a hideous crime that destroys the mentality of the children. And I think we're going to touch on that here a little bit. Um, the there needs to be more awareness. There needs to be more training to law enforcement so that they understand the severity of this situation. And each one is different, and they require special care. And a parent needs to build the tools in what we an imaginary toolbox. There's different things they can put in there that can help them help bring their kids home. And the parent is the most efficient, or most effective advocate for their own child. It's got to be them doing the heavy lifting. They love their child. They want to reunite with their child, and we need to help them along that way.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
It's not easy as we are speaking. It's a long process, and then
Hmm.
sometimes it's a single parent, sometimes it's both husband and wife in this case.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of gray areas or a lot of complicated areas that
Hmm.
you have to deal with that. So we often talk about the impact on parents, but what can parental abduction to do to a child identity, relationships, sense of safety, and connection with the left behind parent?
Oh, it, it, it totally changes their person. Um, I the I mean, we've helped parents with literally babies kidnapped, but at the age of 3, and and so I do have a psychological background in training college. But at the age of 3, kids will start to be totally affected psychologically. Um, a case very close to me, the child was brainwashed at the age of 12. They cannot remember from the point of 12 backwards. They were kidnapped at 12. And that abductor, that perpetrator did that to them. They wiped their mind. They typically will go after wanting hate against the other loving parent. They will if it's an international abduction, they will teach the child to hate the other country. Those two things become almost simultaneously, like right away out of the gates. Schooling is affected. Typically, they'll hold the children out of school. Maybe they'll go to school but miss lots of days of school. Doesn't matter what grade they're in at that point. From kindergarten on, we've seen it. The other big thing is health. They will not take the children to health appointments or psychological appointments for the child's well being. Uh, again, it's control, um, to separate that child from the other parent, the loving parent.
Um, yeah, because I was while when you were saying, I was thinking a lot of things, thoughts going on in my mind that it can be. I don't know whether you can correct me if I'm wrong. It can change to abduction, change to maybe human trafficking or the well-being of child in most cases, like after a few days, right? Um, is that right?
With there's an important point there. Human trafficking and international or domestic parental abduction are actually two different crime sets. So we're on the case
Right.
on law itself, it's two different sets of laws that apply. Now, in many, I'd say some of the international abductions, the parent will bounce the child from country to country to country.
Right.
And we just had a reunification here about a month ago. Child was initially taken to Mexico. They ended up in Turkey, the Netherlands. They went through England and ended up coming back in through Mexico again. And they were picked up at the U.S. border. The father had no idea that this child had traveled the world. None.
Right. Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
so
It's
now
a
we've got cultural things. Whoops, sorry. We've got cultural things to unwind in this child, in this whole aspect of things. Does that
Yeah,
make
because
sense?
the child doesn't know what's going on.
True.
It's a basically thinking, okay, you know what, I am traveling with my parents or
Hmm.
guardians, you know, and then exploring the world, basically,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Uh,
And
yeah, go ahead.
in different languages.
Yeah.
So the child only knows English, likely, but you've got all of these different cultures. None of it. Sometimes the different countries make sense, but this one didn't make sense at all. Just the parent was on the run, and we've had many a discussion actually with the kidnapper too. So that comes into play occasionally to help
Um,
them bring the child in.
yeah, the other scary thing is that it could be, I mean, the kidnapper can lose the child too during this
Hmm.
process, right? So
It does
nobody,
happen.
yeah, nobody
Yeah,
can guarantee anything though, right?
right.
So let's go back to your own situation.
Hmm.
Your own children were missing for years and have since been located as adults. Without asking you to share anything, if you want to prefer, keep it private, that's okay. How has that experience shaped your understanding of grief, hope, and healing?
That's a good question. They're adults. They're living in the United States, I believe, to the best of my knowledge. And I know where my daughter is. My son, I do not know specifically. Um, we do have some leads there. Um, and there's a bit of a, when you don't know where your children are at all, there's always that hole that's missing. There's some sort of reassurance. I know where, especially with my daughter, I know where she lives. I can see social media. There was a time back in 23 that we were able to talk, but she shut down again. And there may be some reasons for that. I don't have the concrete answers. She knows I'm here. She knows I love her. The healing process takes time, and it for the children and for the parents, honestly, it's going to take a lifetime.
Absolutely. First of all, thank you, Randall, to share those information,
Yeah.
your experience, because it's very, very, it's not easy. At the same time, you are willing to help others at the same time while you are going through your personal journey, right? Experiences. Um, through Shine the Light for Abducted Children. Sorry, before that, I want to talk to, because since this platform talking about men's issues and fathers,
Mhm.
do fathers face particular challenges when reporting parental child abduction or trying to convince authorities that their concerns should be taken seriously?
Yep. They do, and primarily around domestic violence. Uh, More often than not, the father's accused of something, XYZ. And it's important to keep in mind that the domestic violence is actually the kidnapping of the children. And in many, many cases, the father has done nothing. Um, it's very rare that we come across a case where there's viable documented facts of either a misdemeanor and or a felony. There have been some cases where we have worked with a parent that is facing just a lot of domestic violence coming from the father. Now, you can have it both ways, but because there's a bias, men are pushed aside quite often more than moms are. It's important to recognize, though, that mothers kidnap 2 times greater amount than fathers. So approximately 64% are mothers that are kidnappers. Fathers are 33%, 34%. and 2% are grandparents. So that they're not necessarily fleeing domestic violence. Now, granted, there are advocates, there are people, parents out there that want to say it's all about domestic violence perpetrated by a father. That is a false narrative, completely false narrative. And most of the, uh, uh, you know, I'd say most, the, the, the amount of cases that we've helped parents with, again, that's going to be a smaller percentile where there's actual domestic violence on behalf of the father. So this bias is put on a father, on a dad, and then that slows up the process immensely. We have a case right now. Mom accused the father of things that were very vile. They were false. It gave her time to leave the country. We've seen it here in another case many years ago. And the mom held the father out of court for almost 6 months. And at the 6 months, she fled with the children. And eventually we would help to recover the kids. Again, it definitely creates some challenges. Now, that being said, there are many moms that are on the flip side. They are the victims. And there is a father or a dad out there, an ex-husband, that is just revenging on that mother as well. And there's many like cases. And again, we have challenges with law enforcement. They get away with it, and it's not fair, it's not right. And many times they forget in the process, the stakeholders in the process forget the kids. This is all about the kids, period, and their well-being in the end.
Absolutely, yeah. It is very, very true. It is very important, critical too. Um, One thing I want to ask you here, because when we talk about males or men's, you know, challenges, things like that, how much is the awareness in and around our neighborhood or in the society, in the community, um, not only Canada or um,
It,
USA or any other countries, that what we are talking about here, what we are sharing, these kind of scenarios, you know, like until it hits to their personal, you know,
life.
say personal life, let's
Yeah.
say for example myself or my uncle or you know, my friend or somebody close to you, so then they start to seek or you know, think about too much. So how much awareness are you think it's available, or um, do they have enough awareness?
The, the data is hard to come by. It hasn't really been looked at in close to 20 years, if not more. But there is a rule of thumb. This is in every backyard. It's in every neighborhood across our nation, across Canada. And a lot of times I say Canadians have a much more difficult time than we, the United States parents. And yet I've seen Canada step up and go after the perpetrator and prosecute uh, the perpetrator, whereas here in the States, a lot of times the perpetrator will get slapped on the wrist. Now, we did have a case last fall. The mom was sentenced to 20 years. The it's a felony here in the States in a federal sense and in many states, and that charge is typically 3 years. Um, the but it's in every backyard, and that was a theory I had until 2015, approximately. I came to this issue in 14 professionally, and actually a child. My kids were taken in the last day of June of 2012. And from my own community, unbeknownst to me, in January of 13, a little girl, 9 months old, was taken to Egypt. She's still in Egypt today. She's still in Egypt. And Egypt as a country has been very difficult to work with, especially in U.S. cases. We do have a case out of Ireland, Dublin, Ireland, where two twins, well, I say Irish twins, they're two brothers, they are still held in Egypt nearly 4 years later. And so it's in every country around this world, and but it's also in everybody's own neighborhood.
Absolutely, yeah. Thank you for sharing those
Yeah,
details. I am actually displaying some of the
see,
contact details and the organization details. That's
thank
what
you.
we're going to discuss. Um, but for those who are watching, please take a note of the phone number and email address and website address. So you can reach out to them actually, and then get some help or support or advice in most cases. Um, let's go back to let's talk about your organization through Shine the Light for Abduction. Children, you also work on prevention. What
We do.
warning signs should parents recognize when there may be a risk of domestic or international parental child abduction?
Um, Obviously, gathering clothing could, it sounds so simple, but my kids were packing clothing for the winter. I didn't see it. My mom did. Why are you packing clothes for the winter when you're only going for a summer vacation? It was a big red flag. My daughter was 12, as I mentioned. My son was 10 and a half when that occurred. The yeah, there could be conflict between the parents financially. Communication may have broke down. There could be infidelity. Um, the emotional tension could escalate. Um, Verbal speech about going and taking the kids is a really huge uh, red flag if someone's still together. There are times when a parent is completely blindsided as well. And we see that quite often where they didn't see the red flags, one or the other. Um, but there typically will be the other key. We have parents that just push and push and push for the international travel. Um, if they're doing that, that's a huge red flag. We do affidavits to help parents to prevent, and we testify in court in that regard as well. Uh, there is data with regards to many of the countries specifically that we can use. Um, and then as a nation, as the United States, unlike Canada, we have two programs: a prevent abduction program, which is similar to a no-fly list for children, and we also have a passport issuance alert program. The prevent abduction is a stronger, much stronger tool that can be utilized rather than the passport issuance alert program. With the passport issuance alert program, a little caveat here, the kidnappers will use it too. It's no secret. They will use it too, so they are notified if the loving parent is trying to get a passport renewed. And so it again, there's strategy, it's a game, but again, the focus has to be on the well-being of the children.
Absolutely. Thank you for the
You're
information,
welcome.
Randall. I just displayed the website address and the email address for the
Thank
Canadian
you.
um, people. So, whoever is watching from Canada, absolutely, you can take this number. You can check out the website address at the same time. If um, some cases, if whoever is come across any situations, or at least it's good to learn what's going on, or like Randall was saying, it's a public awareness very important. And so in this case, either you can check your website and get to know more about that, or even contact them personally directly, and then get more information about these ones. So it will help down the road. You never know, right? At least not only you, but at the same time, people, whoever, if you come across anybody, the people them, so you can help them to support them. Um, Going back to the questions, I want to ask you. Let's talk about probably what should a parent do, and what should they avoid doing if they genuinely believe their child is at a risk of being taken or another state or country.
Okay. The, the first step to that is to contact law enforcement. First and foremost, and if you write down our website, we have a pop-up that comes up right away. There's step 1, 2, and 3. You can follow those. Contacting law enforcement is both for domestic and international. When it gets into like step 2, I believe we have step 2 is to contact the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. They help to assist in these situations, and their core function is to help to facilitate law enforcement, if at all possible. And again, these things take time. But first step, contact law enforcement. Reach out, to if you think they're on the move, airports become very, very important. And then also to the U.S. State Department. There is a link there. It's also part of step 1. We're utilizing their own information that says to contact law enforcement in step 1. And again, we can help and we have stopped active abductions. We've helped to do that with the proper documentation and a parent literally acting very quickly. We were successful in, I believe, 2 cases that come to mind here off the top.
Absolutely, yeah. Because sometimes, as a human being, for most cases, it's when you hear even we couldn't realize the parents because they would be in a panic mode, or
Mm-hmm.
they can kind of like a shock mode, right? So
Yep.
it's very unfortunate, but at the same time, we had to deal with that situation, right? So it is very important to get to know these things. So get an note of it. You have participated in more than 100 meetings with the government agencies and congressional representatives, and so where do you see the biggest gaps in the current legal and governmental response to parental child abduction?
The biggest gap comes from the office of the President of the United States in not recognizing that this is an issue. It comes from the other leaders across the nations. There's a lot of talk about trade. Our kids are laid on the altar of foreign trade. The other biggest gap is in the United States. The Sean and David Goldman Act has not been fully implemented. Now, uh, 12 years after it was signed. It was signed in 2014. It has not been fully implemented. It has a prevention measure which is being used, has return functions that have not been used. And that's a problem with Congress in our country. Congress has not held the State Department Office of Children's Issues, has not held their feet to the fire. And that is a willful act on their part that has hurt the lives of hundreds and thousands of American children. Period.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate and then shocking news to hear too. But I also want to add or ask you,
Mm-hmm.
because you have been working with Canadians, and
Mm-hmm.
time to time you come across situations, cases, right? So, what is it? What do you think, or what kind of feedback you're getting from Canadian side in terms of the gaps between the government or the agencies? So,
I believe it's called Global Affairs.
right.
Um, I know that the organization does have some traction with them, but again, it's very difficult for a Canadian parent to put all the pieces together to get a forward motion. The RCMP have been very helpful in some cases. Some cases they have extradited, but others they turn a blind eye to, and we've seen that. Um, I do, and we have seen Canadian lordships, judges uphold the treaty and also refuse to take jurisdiction of a case. So a kidnapper will come into the foreign country and go, well, you can take this case. No, 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 no. It's back wherever that other court process is, if there's a court process. Some cases do not have that process in place, and then we help that parent build the case. Um, in my own particular case, the lordship in British Columbia, Canada, usurped. So he undermined, he stole, he took the exclusive continuing jurisdiction of a Pennsylvania court. Otherwise, I may have had a relationship with my kids. That's part one. Part two is the return requests under the Hague were not sent to the British Columbian government, and nobody bothered to call me, quote, when immigration paperwork in Canada was filed for my children. Okay, a simple phone call could have prevented a whole lot. But the act of a U.S. Consular affair officer, the act of her willful, uh, godlike personality profile actions, which we do have in writing, this whole aspect of things. It, kids were taken again June of 12. I would not get it till March of 18 in writing from BC Canada Attorney General's office. Again, my kids may be home if that had acted. Again, you have a lot of government things going on behind the back, and many of these countries are very corrupt to add to the conflict or the struggle, and you've got to find a way through that and just never give up, never give in.
Absolutely, yeah. How important is collaboration between parents, lawyers, law enforcement, governments, and advocacy organizations when a child has been abducted?
Extremely important. And to have patience. Uh, Many, and myself included, but many of us have lost our patience. Our emotions will be our number one roadblock if we don't control them. If we're not grounded, we talked about that earlier. If we're not grounded, we're going to be our own worst enemy. And we've got to be patient and then try to bring a whole team approach to the situation, if possible.
Absolutely. So it's a teamwork. It cannot be one man.
Correct.
Cannot do that. It's a
Right.
teamwork. Though.
Yep.
So let's talk about how did you help? Like you have helped advocate for legislative reforms, including laws in Texas. What kind of policy changes could prevent more children from being abducted rather than forcing families to fight for their return afterward?
The two laws that we had helped in Texas back in 2023, there were many phone calls with legislators to help get the laws passed. Um, the one particular law extended it's called Bianca's Law. It extended the statute of limitations from 3 years to 20 for the crime. And no, let me back that up. It excluded the statute of limitations, made it a lifetime. So it's equivalent to murder. What it did in the 3 years to 20 was the extradition. So we moved from a 3 year term to 20 years that gave room, especially for international abduction. Again, it's referred to as Bianca's Law, and that was statewide. It became law in around uh, August of 23, I think, is when the governor signed the bill. The other law was what many parents have heard of is the three strike rule. And that was a, a bill that was passed in Texas, and it used the word may in the structure of the law versus in Bianca's law it said shall. Very important words. Shell made it, and Bianca's made it statewide right away. In three strike rule, in saying that may, it left a county to decide, a local government to decide if they were going to adopt the three strike rule, which provided a pathway to fine a parent for withholding or interfering with child custody. And they could be fined up to $500 per occurrence. Yet at the third occurrence, they would then go before a judge charged with a felony. And if we could implement these laws across all 50 states, that would help to change and prevent, curtail. Most of the abductors are doing their research ahead of the loving parent, too. So they know that these laws exist, but they also realize they might really get away with it, and many do.
So sounds like a lot of people they prepare everything beforehand, especially on the law side. Finding the loopholes and then
Hmm.
yeah, it's
It's almost overwhelming, but it's not
yeah,
impossible.
exactly,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Um, your organization hosts bi-weekly parent support calls. What do parents need emotionally from other people when they are living through something as traumatic as losing access to their child?
To know that they're not alone, and you're not alone. That's first and foremost. And the support call empowers the parents. A lot of times the discussions, they take a life of their own, in that one situation may be like another situation, or a parent's going to ask a question here to help the parent with whatever they're dealing with, but they need to know they're not alone. And then that helps them to just take life, forward. And in that there's hundreds of choices that need to be made in these situations. Um, as the parent keeps coming back to the support call, they're be their wheels are turning, they're moving forward. They might go backwards a little, but eventually they're going to move forward, and they're going to learn to grow through this, again, to be grounded. And they can come and be totally disoriented too. Um, Dysregulated is the term we can use. But again, we are there to help them through that. And an important note there as well. I don't know if we can see it there, but From Broken Steps is available on Amazon, a guide to healing after parental abduction. And From Broken Steps, it's written by one of our board members, Tiffany Fontana. And then more recently, we had another parent write a book called Becoming Whole, which is I always screw up the word, so I got to look at it. Um,
Absolutely,
mm,
I can.
yeah, I'm missing it, but it takes a look at the body and what happens through that trauma of the body to get be regulated, be grounded, and but a 52-week journey through awareness, healing, and purpose. The author there is Marissa Messer.
I will get those links from
I'll
Randall,
get
and then
them.
I
Yeah,
will display it
yeah.
or share it later on. Let's move to the one step further. How can friends and extended family support a searching parent without unintentionally minimizing their grief or telling them simply to move on?
Hmm. Love them, love them. Be willing to listen to what they're going through and accept what they're going through and continue to love them. That's one big aspect. The other would be the financial support. And a family can step up to the plate and they can help that sibling or that son or daughter to fight for the return of their children, and it's possible.
Absolutely, yeah. Whatever, whichever way you can help them, absolutely. So, after years of advocacy and exposure to families experiencing enormous pain, how do you protect your
Mm.
own mental and emotional well-being, Randall?
Have a happy place, and we encourage parents to find a happy place. For myself, it's actually getting on a John Deere tractor, digging, mowing, right, just even from riding it. That's a happy place. For some parents, it's a beach. It could be hot yoga. It could be fountains. It's just a waterway. There's somebody that just helps them to get grounded again. It could be running or swimming. Um, Whatever makes you happy will help that emotional and mental well-being. And then have a network of friends that can help you.
Absolutely, trustable circle, which is that will keep you a lot of power too. At the same time,
Hmm.
yeah, like you said, it could be sometimes walking, simple walking, or
Hmm.
even doing writing journal, or some listening to music, whatever works for
Yeah.
each person, right? Absolutely. So
Yeah.
the next one is a one-word question. Describe about fatherhood.
Hmm. Um, Loving my
Hope,
children.
hope.
Yeah. Hope.
Hmm.
It's around us every day if we can see it. Yeah.
What keeps you going on difficult days?
Hmm. That's just the drive to know that miracles will happen. And
Abs-
they happen most days. I don't always see them.
Yeah,
That there's most days. We had one, I think that was Thursday. I had three good reports from parents, and then I had a really challenging one that blew my mind. But the next morning I had to get up and I had to keep going.
absolutely,
Yeah.
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 Because the thing is, we don't know, and then we don't have any control or limit. Because the thing is,
Mhm.
somewhere in the world, even our neighbor or somewhere at the corner, somebody is waiting for our service or our help, our support. So we never know. So we cannot stop. Of course, we are human being, and then we had to handle this and that. But at the same time, it's more than that. So that's kind of mentality. I think it's help us to keep going. Um,
Yeah.
a person who has influenced your advocacy.
Mm. Th- th- there's there's a U.S. intelligence officer. His name is Sam. He was one. There's a woman from BC, Canada, that has passed away. She was two. And I have a local friend that has just, she would call me every day after my kids were taken and just want to have that report and like, how are you doing, kid? Now, granted, I've been at this for 14 years, but how you doing, kid? Just somebody in there going, don't quit today. And the other part that third person played, initially it took me 18 months to find another parent like me out here on the web. And she just empowered me not to give up and keep finding, keep digging, keep asking the questions. And, and if you don't have the answer, ask. There's not a bad question.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely, I like that. Music or silence when you need a reset.
I'm always playing music. Always.
Me too.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
does a home mean to you?
A place to, a place to just settle down. It's quiet. It's been quiet for a long time. That quietness was hard to get used to, but
Absolutely,
it's a respite. Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
What gives you hope
Mm.
for the next generation?
I've got grandkids.
Okay.
Okay. Five to be exact, and they're all boys. Um, there is a next generation, and hopefully they can look back and I leave a legacy that can empower them to help others.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
You have described your work as shine the light. What does shining the light mean to you
Mm,
today? Not only as an advocate, but as a father.
hmm Well, it was an interesting question, and for the folks, we have these ahead of time, so we know. The word shine came into the messaging within about 6 months after my children were taken. And if my daughter's listening to this, this is for you. Your friend Doris, I asked her a question. If you were Hannah, what would you like to see in social media? And her first response was, Hannah would like to see the word shine. So that's how shine came into being. And then was followed, which we haven't discussed much, but it was followed with a song called Shine the Light. And it is available on YouTube under an artist by the name of Maya Muna, Maayimuna. And shining the light for our kids is the heart cry for every parent to know that their child matters and that there's hope that their child can come home.
Um, One question, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
actually two questions. Just one thing I want to ask because Voice of Men 360, we are working with indigenous communities. So, how much experience or are you guys, are you working with them? Are you, what kind of, support system or are you serving to First Nation community? Can you give me some details of it?
Mm-hmm. We've helped parents in South Dakota, North Dakota, both individually and we've also worked with another stakeholder, Missouri Missing Children, as well, or excuse me, Minnesota Missing Children, as well. Also, with our work with the Amber Alert network, we have traveled to 2 national Amber Alert conferences. There was not one this year, but in 2025 there was. And those conferences involved the whole of North America and the Indian countries. And one of the biggest things that I learned through those events were that we have over 500 Indian reservations in North America. And I did not know that. Um, Also, with Return Our Children Home Canada, back in 2023, I actually spoke on the Parliament grounds there in Ottawa, which is obviously a sacred land to the Native American. And it was an honor to do that on a very cold winter night. Um, I think it was February or March. It was really cold. But, there's a dear to our heart there. One of the youngest cases that we've helped assist in was actually a newborn taken from a South Dakota reservation hospital. And it took nearly 9 months to recover them. But we were eventually successful.
Absolutely. Thank you for
Yeah,
sharing those
you're welcome.
details. It's a great pleasure. At the same time, we really want to meet you. So whenever you are back in Canada, let's meet, and then we have to
Absolutely.
a lot of works, and then we have to
Absolutely.
meet in person. One last question, Randall. After everything you have experienced personally and through helping hundreds of families, what message would you like to leave with a parent who is searching for their child today, and with the rest of us about our responsibility to protect children and support the parents who love them?
To the parent that's seeking their child, don't give up. Like I said before, never give in, never give up, never give in. Just do not give up. And if you need help, we're here to help. Our services are free. FREE. We live off of donations as a 501c3, and we are blessed to have some very uh, great donors, I'll use that term, that help us keep going. Um, to protect your children, if you see something, say something. If you have a question, again, we'd be more than glad to take your call and see where we might be able to process the situation and help give you some direction on what you might be able to do to help protect your children and help you as a parent.
Absolutely. So these are some of them. To me, sounds like these are the silent killers without knowing, or sometimes even you cannot feel right away, but it's happening around us. It's very hard to imagine at the same time, but the reality, the truth is happening. So uh, be alert, and also be careful, you know be mindful. That's what I
Mm-hmm.
can say. Um,
Yep.
Thank you, Randall. Of course,
You're
we
welcome.
have other things, a lot of areas we still have to discuss, get to know more. At the
Mm.
same time, I learn a lot of things, and then sometimes you never know, right, which content or what subject is going to be.
Right.
And either it could be one word, or the whole discussion, whole the information, anything could. Sometimes it will help somewhere, someone down the
Mm-hmm.
road, or whoever is watching. On the other hand, they can think,
Yep.
they can, um, just get the thought of it. So thanks a lot again, and
You're welcome. Thank
thank
you.
you. Thanks a lot.
Yep.
So one quick, just stay there, and then we will have just a quick feedback discussion. Um,
Hmm.
so everyone, audience who are watching on the other end, please take a note of all the what do you call the um, information, especially the phone number and the website address and the email address for this organization and for the Canadian organization too. Please check it out, and also please share with your friends or families or anywhere, anyone. Just a quick announcement. This one is the weekly podcast. It's open up. That's what you are watching. If you are interested, or if anyone they can give or they can share, they are willing to share their stories, life journey, absolutely, please introduce us or reach out to us. And then we also run a monthly men's meeting, peer support group meeting, only for men by men. Second Saturday of every month from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time through Zoom, no recording. So there are no limitations on gender, age, nationality, or ethnicity. All people from all walks of life can participate in any of our shows. If you like to be a guest on any of our shows or interested in joining our organization, whether directly or indirectly, please reach out to us. We would love to work with individuals, professionals, experts, community organizations, associations, corporations, government officials, and businesses. Phone number is 226-289-8784. Email address info@voiceomen360.org. Website voiceomen360.org. At the same time, the social media platforms, Facebook, we have a group and page. Join our Facebook group and page, voiceomen360. Other social media platforms are Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, TikTok. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, VoiceOmen 360. Just one last request, guys. So whoever is watching, of course, I'm pretty sure, I'm very confident you learned something. At the same time, please share this one with your friends or your colleague or your contacts. So this way we can reach out more people, and then we can create more awareness. Thanks a lot. See you next time. Thank you.